Hello! You know what I'm gonna say, I suppose, if you watched on any of my other videos when I passed this place. So I'm not gonna say it, I swear. Anywho, so today I am going to talk to you about the issue that is plaguing the IT industry, and it's an issue that, well, frankly, it's an odd one. So you may or may not have realized this, but a large quantity of the applications that you use today are free, if you think about them. Like almost all the services you can use that are provided by, say, a company like Google, for example, are at least freemium. There's always a free tier provided with, a pay option for said product that gives you, for the most part, something extra. And why would I call this an issue? Well, I'm not really calling it an issue. I am simply saying that it could be interpreted as an issue. And the reason why I feel that way is because we are today living in a world where the major players on the market are providing you with a false sensation of entitlement. Now, I've talked about this as something very similar to this, like in the past, in a previous video, where I actually, I'm basically saying that if the same thing comes when it comes to your sense of quality, or everybody's sense of quality, it was don't beat yourself up about this. This is so common that, it's almost hilarious. Well, it is hilarious. I like to think of it as a sickness, because you're spoiled to the point where you have lost all contact with reality. And I was the same way before I became a programmer, and I realized how much work and time goes into building these things that you think should be free, or that you have certain expectations on. So when it comes to quality of an application, if your measurement is that, oh well, I really like this Facebook app, I think that all other applications should be very similar and have the same type of features, then that's what I call spoiled. Because this is quite literally one of the largest, most sophisticated applications in the world, brought to you by a company who literally has entire teams of programmers and designers and all that type of stuff dedicated to small stuff. I'll give you the rundown. An average IT company has an entire team of people, roughly eight people at least, working on the whole product, which is all the aspects. They basically have to work on everything. Google and Facebook and Amazon and all these, they have thousands of people working on thousands of applications, and some of them are actually working on, they have people working on just a very small portion of said applications. They have, for example, an entire team dedicated to just animations. That's what they do. So as you can imagine, the difference in quality is very, very, very large in general. Now, the same thing can be said for providing services and goods to you as the consumer, where, if you think about it, Google's standpoint of saying that basically that software should be free and available and so forth, it's a noble thing. But if you think about it, that's really only something that a company such as Google can provide to you. When you start out, for the most part, as a smaller company, you need some type of income. You actually do need revenue. And today I can say firsthand that most IT applications struggle a lot to find a way. Usually the way it goes is that you need to start with an idea, and unless your idea is the type of idea where you can where you're selling like a physical product, or you're providing a service that can instantly produce revenue, you actually need to invest your own money, time and energy, and place a bet that you will be able to get enough people to use your application for it to have some type of market value, so that you then can go and get investors. And the investors in turn needs to be convinced that you will figure out a way to make money from your application. This is quite literally how Facebook started. Facebook, Zuckerberg and the others, they had no if they're telling you that they had an idea, don't believe them. They had no fucking idea how they were going to make money off Facebook when they started. Because social, we still don't know, apart from ads, we still don't really know how to monetize a lot of the power that comes from social media. There is absolutely a value, but a lot of IT companies are staying afloat because they have a lot of users. But the investors and the people who are providing these companies with the money, they are not getting their income and value from investing in the company is coming from the stock market. It's not coming from actual revenue provided by the users or the product itself. Not for the most part. And that is a problem. It's the same sort of problem that the media industry, like music and movies and so forth, faced with piracy. Now, I'm not an anti-piracy guy. I'm actually quite the opposite. I think that we should rethink this whole idea of copywriting and ownership, but that's another video. But the issue is quite literally that we're in a situation where you're so accustomed to having things for free, it's the norm, that you basically let these companies who build these applications and products and services, you force them into a situation where they have to figure out a different way of making money instead of, us paying for it. And that's just insane. I mean, imagine a car manufacturer being forced into a situation where they have to basically give away the car for free, and then they have to figure out another way, except, they can't sell the car. They have to figure out some other way of making money. And I mean, sure, that might be great for us end consumers, but the danger, and this is what I want to head towards, because there is a danger to you and me as well. You might not feel that way right now because, we love stuff for free. And I mean, I do too. I love stuff for free. I mean, it's great. But the issue is that when you get accustomed to not paying for things, you pay for it in some other fashion. Now, when it comes to Google and Facebook, for the most part, you pay with your personal information. You pay with basically, you pay with, and this is kind of where what I'm building up to. You're paying with a lot by losing everything else. So think about it. It's only really these larger companies who can afford to stably afford to do these sorts of things. How many ideas, startups, innovative new companies do you think are crashing and burning because they can't produce enough revenue in a short enough amount of time to keep the company afloat? Because trust me, it's the same idea with serverless and all these solutions, which is convenient to the cloud, all of that stuff. Like Amazon and Google and Microsoft, they are not providing these services out of the kindness of their heart. Trust me, there are people at these companies who are very well aware that if they provide a freemium option that is competitive enough with other products on the market, they can quite literally put a monopoly on something, because the paid versions usually have a hard time competing, because think about it, if you have enough money to actually dump into a product so that you can get rid of your competitors, that in the long term is actually going to be more beneficial for you than trying to match prices that this is a really old business strategy, and the consequences of that is that you kill off the competition, putting yourself in power, and that you and I and everybody else is accustomed to free stuff, we are putting them in power. Because like don't kid yourself, Google, Facebook, and Amazon, and like all these companies, they virtually run the free web. They have more power than you could possibly imagine. If you start looking into who's setting the standards for technology, who gets to have the biggest say in prioritization of what's going to come into the new standards and so on, these are the companies. These are the major players in those discussions. So that's one thing that you are paying for without being even aware of it. You're losing out on all the other things that could come along in favor of having these things for free. So I'm not saying that I have a solution for how to do this. I'm just saying that, you know, we may have to start rethinking this idea that, or rather we should change the expectations. I believe that there is a sweet spot for all of this. The closest thing I've ever seen to really, like, you can feel what you want to feel about Netflix, but I think Netflix has a really, really good idea for how to find that really nice middle ground where, you know, yes, sure, I can go out and pirate most of the series that are on Netflix. I'm not saying that you should, I'm not advocating it, but I could. But the service that Netflix provides is so convenient and great that I want to pay for it. Spotify is such a service as well. I could go, like, they literally remove so much of the work that I want to pay for it. And I think that you should too. I think that we should get back to the idea where you pay for the services if they're really good services and that they make your life much easier.